Hello and welcome to the Simplified Organization show where real moms chat about realistic home and life management. We want to avoid perfectionism, reject overwhelm, and handle our housework and mothering in a way that honors God. I'm your host, Misty Winkler. I write and podcast at simplyconvivial.com about homemaking, homeschooling, and doing life cheerfully. I'm also author of the new book, How to Use a Planner Without Wasting Time. And today I'm speaking with Clarissa Ramsey. Clarissa is a wife of 14 years to Mark, a homeschooling mom to her 4 kids, and she enjoys reading, traveling, and gardening. Thank you for joining us, Clarissa.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Clarissa is one of our members inside Simply Convivial Continuing Education who just finished the community coaching program. That's where we work through the kind of 3 signature simplified organization courses: organize your attitude, streamline your homemaking, and work your plan. So you were in the first group that took a whole year to work through those, because we've done it shorter before. And was it the first time that you had done it, or have you worked through it before?
Yes, this was my first time doing the community coaching.
So what was your biggest struggle before you started community coaching?
Well, I would say that I was always like stressed and frazzled and always felt like one step behind, like I was dropping balls, and would get overwhelmed really easy. So as we worked through the things, I guess put a name to it, perfectionism, which I've always really liked things like just so, or like if I know that I can't get it the way I want it, then I just don't do it. I would get overwhelmed, like the garage, like, oh, it's a disaster. Well, I can't get it done, so I'm not even going to start. So really just the perfectionism and overwhelm was making life very chaotic and stressed.
Yeah. So often we do feel overwhelmed and frazzled as life is just happening, and it's hard to know why we feel that way.
Yeah, and another thing was unrealistic expectations. That was kind of another thing that I realized too, was I a lot of times would think, oh, I can get all of this done. But then there's 4 children and they require a little extra time for this. So I would always have these unrealistic expectations that we would do all these things or get all this done, or my house would be super clean all the time. But I didn't realize how unrealistic my time management was.
Yeah. And that often goes along with perfectionism, because the perfectionist tendencies, we want to think only of what the whole job is. So as you worked through the courses and participated in community coaching, what were the things that made the most difference with feeling overwhelmed and frazzled?
I would say baby steps, learning how to break things down into smaller things, manageable things with the family and homeschooling. So little things like a 15-minute like tidy or EHAP. We do that after lunch and we do it after dinner. And that's made the biggest difference in my housekeeping, really. So, but I was always like, on Saturday morning, we're going to clean everything and not do anything during the week, or the bare minimal during the week. So starting to do just the little baby steps, even like with decluttering, or I don't know, you can edit that out. I went blank. But yes, the baby steps to break it down into more manageable things, and it would keep me from getting overwhelmed. I could find 15 minutes to pick up everything with the kids, whereas it was hard to find 2 hours to clean the house on Saturday morning. or, just 15 minutes a day in the garage that's a mess like that. And that makes a difference over time. And the other thing would be the daily cards and the weekly review. I really like a plan, but then a lot of times I wouldn't plan my day. I would have a plan like, on the 21st, I need to go to the doctor at this time, or we have co-op every Monday. But to sit down and think about my day and my priorities for that day, I never really did. I just kind of let the day happen. So daily cards really helped me to focus on my priorities, and the weekly reviews too, to kind of help me see like, oh, you're over scheduling, or you're expecting to get done too much. So those really helped my expectations. But then they also helped me to do the baby steps on things, because I could put those on my daily card, and who doesn't like checking them off? Get them done. So
Yeah. So did you ever use a timer doing the little small things?
Yes, because I could be really bad about dropping, like, let's say school was a priority one day, but then there was a big mess, and we would do a little bit of school and somebody spilled something, and then it's like, oh, well, I have to clean this entire room, and would just kind of lose my priorities, and would really kind of boom or bust, like do everything and then drop it or not start. So the priorities really helped me to break it down. And a lot of times I would use a timer and say like 15 minutes, declutter the closet.
So then there is an end point. And so there's not that vague sense of, when am I done? When have I done enough? What does count? It's like, okay, 15 minutes measured, not just in my head.
Right.
Really helps.
Right. Yeah. And it still makes a difference. I mean, I may have to, like, if it's something like a closet, I may have to come back to it for 2 or 3 days, but you can see a difference.
And that is so helpful to just notice that progress, because sometimes we just get in a pattern of telling ourselves that it doesn't really count until it's all completely the way that we want it to be. And then we don't notice that we are making progress, and then we're less likely to continue making progress because we're always falling short and telling ourselves we're falling short, instead of recognizing that we're juggling a lot of things and managing our time that we actually have. So what encouragement would you offer other women struggling with feeling frazzled, especially like just in the middle of the day, everything feels like it's falling apart?
Just take a deep breath and just say a quick prayer to ask God for guidance and discernment on like, what should I do next? Think about, what are my priorities? Like, maybe just escape to your bathroom if everything's going crazy, and just think, what are my priorities? But this is where the daily card really helped. So the night before, think about your next day, think about what's going on, what you want to get done, and then refer back to it and try to keep that top of mind. Think about baby steps. You may not get the whole thing done, but a little bit will add up over time to a big thing. And even with doing the daily cards, I wasn't always super consistent, but then I found that they really helped. And so now I really notice it if I don't do one. But you like everything just so and have perfectionism, you need to realize that a lot of this is trial and error, and it takes time and practice. So, if you mess up, it's okay. Just keep going, and to try to see where it's helping and where things are going smoother, and try to be thankful and celebrate those kind of small wins, those baby steps, and and then just rejoice in what you've accomplished, even though it may not be the whole house. That one desk that was bothering you is now better.
I think one thing that the daily cards really help with is practicing practice because making them every day, you get better and better at picking what the priorities are. Picking priorities can be a difficult skill at first. And so when you do it day after day, you begin to figure out how to do it. It's not something that you like just download, oh, this is how you do it. You learn how to do it by trying to do it.
Yes, yes. And especially if you have unrealistic expectations, like I would find I was putting things on my daily card that were too much. And sometimes I'd want to kind of push the limits and go over 3, and then found that that's too much. I need to scale it back a little, narrow down what I want to do. Once again, to the baby steps. So to plan household things too. If you know that you're having company, then you need to plan into the big house clean. I was used to, I would just plan our events. And then the stuff at home, the household stuff was just there, not getting done a lot of times. But to kind of plan that in, I guess a better time budget, like this is my time and I have to do these things. So where is it going to go?
Yeah. So as you worked through community coaching over the course of a whole year, what part of how it worked was your favorite?
I really enjoyed the meetups and then the courses online, the units that you could do. The meetups were always nice to be able to hear from other people and to ask questions. And then the courses are nice and short. You can do it at your own pace. I know for me, at the end of the year, things got really hectic and I kind of dropped off, but I was still working on the time budget and still doing my daily cards and weekly reviews and brain dumps and stuff. So I was able to still benefit, even though maybe I wasn't keeping up with the modules.
Yeah, really, each little piece that you start working on helps itself. It's not like, oh, it has to all be complete before you see any benefit from it.
Correct. Yes, yes. Even the little things like the daily card was one of the first things we started. So, and that's been one of the most beneficial for me, just being able to do it each day and get better and better to where now it doesn't take hardly any time, but it just helps me so much to stay focused and not get distracted on the like urgent or the fun things that pop up. Like, no, I wanted to get this done today. This was my top priority.
Yeah, a lot of times the feeling of being frazzled is just having our attention pulled all kinds of places and not having a direction that we've chosen, but just being pulled here and there and operating from a distraction mode.
Yes, like just always bouncing from one thing to the next. And like, what have I done today? It's like I would feel a lot of times that I hadn't accomplished anything. And I think it was just because I was going from thing to thing and like, just couldn't focus and didn't take the time to think about my priorities. And it showed.
But that's really encouraging to just know that the small steps make a difference. They're all skills that the small pieces of practice build up over time. The 15 minutes add up over time.
Yeah, and they start to become routine too. And so it really just kind of all spills over into everything. So like with my daily card, I'd start off with, always writing down the EHAP, like we're going to have, our 15-minute cleanup. But now it's just part of our routine. And I don't have to put that on my daily card anymore. I will sometimes if I've noticed we've been real busy and have dropped that ball. But for the most part, I don't have to. That has now affected how clean the house is. It really just keeps rolling and building to where you get better habits.
Mm-hmm. So do you think you'll do community coaching again, or do you have something that you want to work on next to keep the progress going?
I think I'll do community coaching again. I've really enjoyed it. It helped me to stay engaged
Yeah.
and think through and actually like kind of apply. Because then when we'd have the meetups to be able to talk about it and get input or ask questions. And so I really enjoyed it to help motivate me to keep improving and keep doing these things that have helped.
Thank you so much. And
Well, thank you.
yeah, and I look forward to our next time of community coaching and seeing you on more meetups.
Yes, I'm excited. Yes.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Clarissa as much as I did. If you want to experience the same kind of transformation as Clarissa, then enroll in Simply Convivial Continuing Education. On January 6th, 2023, we are going to begin our next cohort of the Simplified Organization Community Coaching with Clarissa joining us. We're going to work step by step, week by week, over the whole calendar year through the signature courses, Organize Your Attitude, Streamline Your Homemaking, and Work Your Plan. With support, accountability, and consistency, we work together to make small steps but continual progress in our whole life domain. The program does not just tell you what to do. Instead, it models an approach and helps you work through what you need to apply and work on in your own situation. We don't expect perfectionism. We practice getting up again after falling down, and we always replace internal lies with objective truth. To join us, just go to simplyconvivial.com and click the green Enroll button. Simplified Organization Community Coaching is included in your membership at no extra cost. So go to simplyconvivial.com and click the green Enroll button to get started repenting, rejoicing, and repeating with us today.